Alex Rivera had never thought of themselves as extraordinary. Most days were spent in the quiet hum of the Space Research Station orbiting Earth, cataloging cosmic dust samples and running simulations on alien exoplanets. To colleagues, Alex was brilliant but unremarkable in the grand scheme of interstellar affairs. The thought of being called to an alien world never entered their mind. That changed one quiet morning when the station's communication console buzzed insistently. The display flashed a symbol they had never seen before. A shimmering, rotating glyph that seemed almost alive. Curious, Alex tapped the screen. Immediately, a holographic figure appeared, an elegant, flowing shape that emitted soft, golden light. The voice was calm but commanding. "Alex Rivera," it said. "You are requested to travel to Virelia Prime. Your presence is essential for the continuation of interstellar peace." Alex froze. Virelia Prime. The name had crossed Earth's interstellar research networks, always accompanied by rumors. A world home to the Zetherians. A species so advanced and secretive that most humans considered them myth. Peaceful, yes, but the tales of their technology, their civilization's complexity, made Earth scientists wary. And now, they wanted Alex. A single human. On their world, questions swirled in Alex's mind. Why me? What could I possibly offer that the most powerful humans, diplomats, and military strategists could not? But even as doubt gnawed at them, a spark of curiosity lit up. This was an opportunity that no one on Earth could ignore, not even Alex. Preparations were swift. Within 24 hours, Alex was aboard a Zetherian diplomatic vessel. A sleek craft that shimmered like liquid silver under the station's lights. The interior defied earthly logic. Walls seemed transparent, but held complex data streams. Floors subtly shifted to align with footsteps, and the air hummed with energy, tinged with an unfamiliar fragrance that was somehow comforting. An AI, smooth and melodic, guided Alex through the ship's corridors. "You are prepared for the journey," it said. "All requirements for your safety and integration have been completed. Your role on Virelia Prime is of utmost importance." Alex nodded, though uncertainty still clung. Every step on the ship felt like stepping deeper into a dream they didn't understand. The closer the ship approached Virelia Prime, the more their awe grew. The planet's surface was a kaleidoscope of colors and structures unlike anything on Earth. Towers of crystal shimmered in the light of Virelia Prime's twin suns. Skyways crisscrossed the atmosphere with vehicles moving in perfect harmony. And forests of glowing flora spread across the land, bioluminescent tendrils stretching high into the sky. "Beautiful," Alex whispered, almost to themselves. "Not merely beautiful," the AI replied. "It is a testament to Zetherian ingenuity and harmony. Observe, and you will understand." As the ship descended, Alex could see smaller crafts zipping between the towers, carrying passengers whose appearances were unlike any life form from Earth. Their bodies were slender and elongated, with skin that shifted color subtly as it reflected light. Faces were symmetrical but alien, with eyes like polished gems, radiating intelligence. Every motion was graceful, almost ceremonial, and Alex felt both intimidated and strangely welcomed. When the ship landed in the capital's central plaza, Alex was escorted through wide halls adorned with ever-changing murals, images of history, science, and art, merging into a fluid display of Zetherian achievement. Every step brought Alex closer to the royal chamber, a place they had only seen in holovids. The doors themselves were massive, shaped like twin arcs of crystal, glowing faintly with a soft internal light. Inside, the chamber was vast, almost impossibly so. It stretched far beyond what a human mind could comfortably grasp, with ceilings that seemed to touch infinity and floors of translucent crystal showing glimpses of glowing currents beneath. And at the far end, seated on a throne of luminescent materials, was Queen Erythra. Alex stopped. Everything they had read and imagined about alien monarchs paled in comparison. Queen Erythra was breathtaking. She was tall, her presence both commanding and serene, Her skin shimmered with colors that seemed to shift with her mood: golden amber at rest, deep violet when she leaned forward. Her eyes, immense and multifaceted like liquid gemstones, were fixed on Alex with an intensity that made the room feel smaller. Then, to Alex's shock, the queen rose slowly and knelt. Not a slight bow, not a gesture of politeness, she fully lowered herself before Alex, lowering her head with a fluid grace that seemed almost impossible for a being of her size. Alex staggered back slightly, their minds struggling to process what they were seeing. "What?" they managed to stammer. The queen's voice echoed, melodic and soft, filling the chamber without speaking aloud. Alex realized it wasn't speech. As humans understood it, it was telepathy. "Do not fear, human," the queen conveyed. "I recognize the potential within you. This is a gesture of respect." Alex blinked. Respect? From a monarch of an advanced alien civilization? Why me? Their mind raced. I don't understand. Why would you kneel?" The queen's gaze remained unwavering, and her aura seemed to pulse gently, like waves of color in water. "Your species is young," she said, "yet you possess a combination of courage, adaptability, and moral discernment that few civilizations demonstrate, even over millennia. The universe is vast, and danger approaches. I kneel not as a subject, but in acknowledgement of the human potential to rise to challenges unforeseen." Alex felt a mixture of awe and disbelief. Humans? Potential heroes in the galaxy? They had always felt ordinary, struggling with small problems on Earth, research grants, equipment failures, disagreements with colleagues, and yet here they were, regarded as a beacon of possibility by a being who had likely witnessed countless civilizations rise and fall. The queen rose again, her form towering over Alex with an elegance that radiated authority and wisdom. She gestured for Alex to approach. "Come closer," she said. "There is much to discuss, and time is short." As Alex stepped forward, the room seemed to shift subtly. Walls displayed historical events from Zetherian records. Moments of triumph, moments of despair, and the countless civilizations that had succumbed to aggression or neglect. Among them, the image of Earth appeared, small but vibrant, a young civilization, struggling yet undeniably resilient. "Your world has been observed," the queen continued. "Your species shows unpredictability, yes, but in your unpredictability lies ingenuity. It is why you have been chosen." Alex's chest tightened. Chosen for what? They looked around, trying to find some clue in the immense chamber, in the alien attendants who watched silently. "Chosen? For what exactly?" they asked, voice barely above a whisper. The queen's eyes glowed slightly brighter. "The galaxy faces threats that exceed even our understanding. There are powers that would consume worlds without thought. Your presence, human, will influence the course of events in ways your species has yet to imagine." The words sank in slowly. Alex felt a mix of fear, excitement, and disbelief. They were being asked to step into a role far beyond anything they had known. And yet, a strange calm settled over them, perhaps for the first time. They understood that being human, ordinary, flawed, resilient, and imaginative, was exactly what made them remarkable. "Will I be alone?" Alex asked. "Not entirely," the queen replied. "You will have guidance, but your decisions, your creativity, will be your most powerful tools. The galaxy has underestimated humanity for too long. That ends now." Rupressen. As the chamber faded into shadows and light, Alex realized that stepping into this unknown world was more than a mission. It was a chance to redefine what it meant to be human in a universe full of possibilities and dangers. The queen's kneeling was not just a gesture. It was a signal, a declaration that Earth was no longer a quiet observer. Humanity was about to take its first steps into a galaxy where courage, ingenuity, and heart mattered more than technology alone. Alex took a deep breath, feeling the weight of both responsibility and opportunity. One ordinary human, standing in an extraordinary chamber, facing an extraordinary future. The doors to the unknown had opened, and there was no turning back. And as the twin suns of Virelia Prime shone through the crystalline roof, Alex felt something stir deep within. Hope, determination, and the first real understanding of what it meant to be recognized not as a small, fragile species, but as one capable of greatness. Alex barely slept that first night on Virelia Prime. The memories of the royal chamber, the queen's kneeling, and her words echoed relentlessly in their mind. How could someone from their ordinary human life, someone who spent days cataloging cosmic dust and analyzing data, be considered essential for the galaxy? Yet, as dawn spread across the alien skies, Alex realized that it wasn't about skill alone. It was about humanity's essence, creativity, courage, and moral judgment. The morning air was thick with the sense of Virelia Prime's bioluminescent flora, the soft hum of alien life, and the quiet energy of a civilization that had mastered harmony between technology and nature. The palace attendants, slender beings with shifting-colored skin, moved gracefully through the corridors, silent but attentive. Alex followed, trying to absorb everything: the architecture, the colors, the subtle way every surface reflected light differently depending on the viewer's position. Finally, Alex arrived in the council hall, a room smaller than the royal chamber, but equally stunning. Here, representatives from Zetherian science, diplomacy, and strategy awaited. They looked at Alex with curiosity, some with skepticism. Humans were unusual to them, short-lived, emotionally volatile, and yet undeniably capable of great creativity. Queen Erythra appeared at the head of the hall. Her presence filled the room, commanding attention without force. She moved to stand beside Alex, letting the council observe the humans' reaction. "Humans are unpredictable," she began, her telepathic voice clear in Alex's mind. "But in unpredictability lies innovation. Your species has solved problems by seeing patterns others ignored, by taking risks others feared. That is why you are here." Alex's mind raced. But why me? Why not a team of scientists, diplomats, or strategists from Earth? The Queen's gaze softened. Because one human, guided properly, can influence others in ways a group cannot. Your adaptability is key. You will face decisions that no algorithm or strategy can fully predict. Your instincts will matter more than your knowledge. A Zetherian diplomat, tall with shimmering emerald skin, spoke cautiously. "Your Majesty, the humans are capable, yes, but their species is young. How can we trust a single human with matters of galactic consequence?" Queen Erythra turned, her eyes focusing on Alex. "Trust is not given because of age or experience. It is earned through courage, action, and moral choice. Observe, and you will understand." With that, Alex was taken to a secure observation deck overlooking the outer system's strategic map, a holographic projection of the surrounding star clusters. Planets, fleets, and energy fields shifted and moved dynamically, representing real-time activity across the galaxy. Alex's jaw dropped. The scale of information, the precision of data, and the sheer scope of the Zetherian influence was overwhelming. "The Thrin," a strategist explained, pointing to a cluster of red markers, "are a violent and expansionist species. Their fleets are massive, their tactics brutal. They consume planets without thought or negotiation. Several peaceful systems lie in their path, including the human homeworld." Alex's stomach clenched. Earth, their home, was in danger. The thought of friends, family, and everything familiar being destroyed was unbearable. Yet, amidst the fear, there was a spark of determination. "They underestimate humans," Alex said softly. "They probably think we're weak, slow, predictable. But that's where we can surprise them." The Queen's presence near Alex felt reassuring. "Yes," she confirmed. "Your species' unpredictability is an advantage. Others see weakness, but we see potential. That is why you were called. You will assist in strategies that require more than technology. You will provide insight born of instinct and creativity." Alex spent the following days immersed in Zetherian training. They studied alien languages, learned advanced mathematics to understand Zetherian energy fields, and trained in simulated battle environments that tested decision-making under extreme pressure. The instructors were patient but rigorous, constantly pushing Alex beyond comfort zones. One exercise simulated a blockade, a Thryn fleet approaching a vital Zetherian system. Zetherian tacticians relied on conventional strategy, overwhelming force, predictable maneuvers, and structured defense. Alex, observing patterns and anomalies in the simulation, suggested an unorthodox approach. Decoy maneuvers, feigned retreats, and unpredictable fleet positioning inspired by human naval tactics centuries old. At first, the strategists were skeptical. A human, relying on primitive instincts, could not possibly outperform their sophisticated calculations. Yet, as the simulation unfolded, Alex's strategies outmaneuvered the virtual Thryn forces, revealing weak points even the best algorithms had missed. The room was quiet for a moment, the Zetherians adjusting to the reality that human creativity could complement their technology in ways they had not anticipated. It was during one of these sessions that Alex truly began to understand why the Queen had knelt. The gesture was not mere ceremony, it was acknowledgement, a recognition that, despite humans' physical frailty and emotional volatility, they carried an essence that even advanced civilizations found valuable. The ability to think differently, to adapt, to improvise when rules failed. The Queen visited Alex later, her presence calm yet powerful. "You are learning quickly," she said, "but training is not enough. The galaxy does not wait. Observation alone cannot prepare you for what is coming. You must understand the philosophy of Zetherian survival that life, intelligence, and civilization are precious, yet fragile. That understanding will guide your instincts." Alex nodded, absorbing every word. Each session, each lesson, each simulation sharpened a sense within them. The responsibility they carried was enormous. The human capacity for empathy, intuition, and improvisation could tip the balance between destruction and survival for countless worlds. As days passed, Alex began to explore Virelia Prime itself. Unlike Earth cities, which were functional and rigid, this world was alive. Buildings and streets responded to movement and sound. Plants glowed softly, changing colors with the time of day. Artificial intelligence coexisted seamlessly with organic life. Even the people moved differently, gracefully, deliberately, yet not rigidly, as if every action carried meaning. Walking through the city, Alex noticed children playing near floating gardens, their laughter echoing as holographic images swirled around them. Markets thrived with beings of countless forms trading goods, ideas, and stories. It was unlike anything human eyes had seen, a society where knowledge, art, and life itself were revered, yet not stagnated by fear of change. One evening, Alex returned to the royal palace and found the Queen waiting in a quiet garden. Twin suns bathed the scene in golden light, illuminating the shimmering plants and translucent waters. "Do you understand now why you were chosen?" she asked. Alex hesitated, then said, "I think so. You saw something in humans, something that even we don't fully see. Courage, creativity, adaptability, the things that let us survive when odds are against us." The Queen inclined her head. "Exactly. Your species is underestimated. Not because you lack strength, but because others fail to recognize your capacity to rise when challenged. That is why you are here. That is why I knelt. And that is why you will matter." The weight of her words settled over Alex like a tangible force. They realized that stepping onto Virelia Prime was not just a personal journey, it was a test, a chance for humanity to prove itself on a stage far larger than Earth. Days later, Alex received their first mission, to assist in negotiating with a Thryn ambassador. The task would not be simple. Diplomacy required reading motives, predicting reactions, and maintaining calm under pressure, exactly the traits humans were said to possess naturally. Alex prepared, knowing that failure was not an option, not just for themselves, but for countless lives across the galaxy. That night, as Alex gazed at the twin moons of Virelia Prime reflecting across a tranquil lake, they felt a mixture of fear and anticipation. The galaxy was far larger and more complex than anything they had imagined. Yet, within the fear, a spark of confidence grew. Humans had always been underestimated. Maybe it was time the galaxy learned that humans were not ordinary, that their courage, ingenuity, and moral sense could shape events far beyond Earth. Alex closed their eyes and made a silent promise. They would not fail. Not as a human. Not as someone ordinary. They would rise to the challenge. Not because it was easy, but because it had to be done. Because humanity, for all its flaws, had a power no algorithm, no fleet, and no empire could ever fully predict. The power to adapt, to fight, and to inspire. And with that thought, Alex finally felt ready. Ready to step into the galaxy, ready to stand beside the Queen, ready to show that humans could matter not as subordinates, but as equals, as catalysts of hope in an unpredictable universe. The tension in the Zetherian command center was palpable. Alex stood among beings who were calm under pressure. Their eyes so different from human eyes, focused, calculating, yet curious as they observed the human in their midst. The Thryn threat had escalated faster than anyone had predicted. Reports of their fleet movements indicated that they were preparing a strike on a cluster of neutral systems, testing defenses, and spreading fear. Earth itself could be next. Alex studied the holographic projections of fleets in motion. Ships moved like predators, fast and aggressive, sweeping through star systems with precision. Zetherian tacticians relied on overwhelming force and coordination. But Alex noticed patterns in the Thryn behavior. Small, subtle repetitions in their attacks. Predictable reactions to feints and distractions. Patterns that a human mind, trained to see the unusual, could exploit. "Your Majesty," Alex began, turning toward Queen Erythra. "I think we can create a diversion. If we simulate a retreat in the outermost system, the Thryn will pursue. Meanwhile, we can strike at their supply lines. They won't expect it." A murmur ran through the room. One of the senior Zytherian strategists raised an eyebrow. "You are suggesting deception? That is risky. Even by our standards." Alex nodded. "Yes, but humans have been using similar tactics for centuries. If we act unpredictably, we can turn their strength against them. They rely on brute force, not flexibility. That's our advantage." Queen Erythra's eyes glowed faintly. "Proceed. Show them why humans are more than what they seem." Preparations began immediately. Zetherian engineers and Alex worked side by side, modifying ships to appear slower, weaker, and more vulnerable than they truly were. Fleet movements were simulated to draw the Thryn into a trap, while supply lines were secretly reinforced and relocated. Alex suggested signals and decoys to confuse the enemy sensors. Techniques inspired by human naval history. The day of the operation arrived. The outer system glimmered under the twin suns of Virelia Prime. Zetherian ships moved in careful formation, while Alex's recommended maneuvers remained hidden until the last moment. The Thryn fleet appeared on sensors, vast and imposing, their crimson hulls cutting through space like knives. Their movements were confident, almost arrogant. They believed the humans and Zytherians to be predictable. "Remember," Alex reminded the fleet commanders, "they expect us to follow patterns. Break the pattern." "They will not see this coming." The engagement began. The Zetherian fleet initially pretended to retreat, just as Alex had suggested. The Thryn pursued eagerly, confident in victory. Alex watched the holographic displays, heart-pounding, aware that one miscalculation could cost thousands of lives. Then the trap was sprung. Hidden ships emerged from hyperspace, striking at Thryn supply lines, while decoy vessels lured the enemy into zones fortified with energy fields and strategic obstacles. Chaos spread through the Thryn ranks. Their rigid tactics failed to adapt to the unexpected. Fleets that relied on numbers alone found themselves outmaneuvered by a human mind's creativity combined with Zetherian technology. "Unbelievable," a Zetherian commander muttered. "The human is thinking beyond our calculations." Alex smiled grimly. "Sometimes, you have to trust instinct over data." The battle raged for hours, a spectacle of light and energy. Alex directed small tactical adjustments, suggesting maneuvers no algorithm had predicted. Zetherian ships, guided by human intuition, dodged devastating attacks and struck with precision. Every victory, every saved fleet, reinforced the growing respect of the Zetherians. They had underestimated humanity for centuries, and now, one human had altered the course of an interstellar conflict. Finally, the Thryn commander realized the trap too late. His fleet, scattered and weakened, had no choice but to retreat. The Zetherian fleet, guided by Alex's unconventional strategies, pressed the advantage just enough to claim victory without overextending. The room erupted in cautious celebration. The Zetherian council, once skeptical, now looked at Alex with admiration and awe. Queen Erythra approached, her presence commanding yet warm. She laid a hand on Alex's shoulder, a gesture rare among her kind, and spoke directly into their mind. You have done more than survive a battle. You have shown the galaxy that humanity is capable of greatness. Even my people, who have witnessed countless species rise and fall, recognize your value. Alex felt a mix of pride and humility. They had always believed humans were ordinary. Yet here they were, influencing galactic events in ways beyond imagination. The realization was both thrilling and sobering. As celebrations continued, the Queen led Alex to a quiet observation chamber. The twin suns of Virelia Prime painted the skies in gold and violet. This victory, she said, is only the beginning. The Thryn will recover. Others will challenge you, doubt you, and attempt to destroy what you protect. But humans, you adapt, you persevere. That is why you are indispensable. Alex thought of Earth, of family and friends, and felt a surge of determination. Humanity had been underestimated, but that underestimation was now their greatest weapon. In the following weeks, Alex continued to prove their value. They suggested new defensive strategies for Zetherian colonies, negotiated minor disputes with other alien species, and even trained Zetherian officers in the human approach to problem-solving, improvisation, unpredictability, and creative thinking. Each success built confidence not just in Alex, but in humanity itself. Yet, Alex knew that the real test was still ahead. Intelligence reports indicated that the Thryn were regrouping, planning a massive assault on the very systems Alex had helped defend. Unlike the first encounter, this would not be a simple engagement of fleet against fleet. It would require diplomacy, cunning, and the ability to inspire allies. One evening, Alex walked through the city of Virelia Prime, observing life continuing as if the galaxy itself were unaware of the looming threat. Children laughed near the floating gardens, merchants exchanged goods and ideas, and scholars debated the principles of energy manipulation with passion. It struck Alex that this was what they were fighting for. Not just survival, but the preservation of culture, knowledge, and life itself. Queen Erythra joined them silently. "Do you understand now why I knelt?" she asked. Alex nodded. Yes. It wasn't just respect. It was recognition. Humans. We adapt. We fight. We inspire. And you see that potential even before we do. The Queen's eyes shimmered with approval. Correct. And now, human, you must take that potential further. The Thryn will challenge everything we have built. But if you succeed, humanity will be seen not as a fledgling species, but as a beacon of hope for countless worlds. Alex's heart raced. The weight of responsibility was immense, yet they felt ready. Humans had always faced impossible odds and emerged stronger. Not because of technology or power, but because of ingenuity, courage, and the refusal to surrender. That same spirit would guide them now. The next days were a blur of preparation. Fleets moved, communication channels were established with allied species, and Alex coordinated strategies that balanced diplomacy with military readiness. They introduced Zetherian commanders to unconventional tactics, encouraged thinking beyond protocol, and insisted on contingency plans that relied on creativity rather than brute force. Each suggestion was met with skepticism, then admiration, as Alex's human intuition repeatedly proved effective. Finally, the moment arrived. The Thryn fleet approached, larger and more organized than before. Sensors picked up formations that could overwhelm even the most disciplined forces. The Zetherians were tense, but Alex remained focused. "Remember," Alex said to the fleet commanders, "they expect us to fight their way. We will fight ours. Adapt, improvise, and never underestimate the unexpected." The battle commenced. At first, it seemed the Thryn would prevail. Their initial strikes were devastating, targeting supply lines and communication hubs. Yet, as predicted, the humans' unpredictability began to shift the balance. Decoy ships led Thryn forces into traps, hidden fleets struck from angles no one expected, and Alex, using intuition and pattern recognition, directed strategic maneuvers that turned near defeat into decisive advantage. Hours passed. The Thryn commander, realizing their rigid tactics were failing, attempted a retreat, but Alex anticipated it. Using a combination of deception and precise strikes, they forced the enemy fleet into a contained zone, neutralizing much of its strength without unnecessary destruction. When the battle ended, the Zetherians were victorious. Fleet losses were minimal. Civilian systems remained intact, and the Thryn were humiliated. More importantly, humanity had been proven capable of shaping galactic events through ingenuity and courage. Queen Erythra approached Alex once more, her presence radiating approval. "You have done what many thought impossible. Not through strength, not through numbers, but through thought, courage, and spirit. Humanity has earned its place in the galaxy." Alex felt a profound sense of purpose. The Queen's kneeling, the trust placed in them, and the victories achieved were not just personal triumphs, they were a symbol of what humans could accomplish when faced with impossible odds. The galaxy would never underestimate them again. After the decisive victory over the Thryn fleet, Varelia Prime buzzed with cautious celebration. The cities were alive with activity, not of war but of relief and admiration. Alex walked through the streets, observing beings of countless shapes and colors moving with a calm pride, exchanging smiles and quiet conversations. Even among such an advanced civilization, there was respect, no awe, for what one human had accomplished. The Queen requested Alex to attend a formal ceremony in the royal hall. As Alex entered, they were struck by the sheer scale of the room, larger than any human mind could fully grasp. Beings from neighboring systems, ambassadors, strategists, and scholars filled the hall. The air thrummed with energy, and yet, beneath it all, there was a sense of anticipation. This was more than a ceremony. It was a declaration. Queen Erythra moved forward, her presence radiating authority and grace. She gestured for Alex to stand beside her. "Today," she began, her voice melodic yet firm, "we recognize not just a victory against our foes, but a revelation. A revelation that even in the vastness of the galaxy, species thought insignificant can possess qualities that change history. Humanity, through one of its representatives, has proven that courage, creativity, and moral conviction are as vital as any advanced technology." The hall fell silent, eyes turned toward Alex, scanning, curious, respectful, and for some, incredulous. Alex felt a flush of awareness. They were ordinary by human standards. Yet here, in front of a galaxy of advanced civilizations, they represented all of humanity. "You, Alex Rivera," the Queen continued, "have demonstrated that humans are more than young, fragile beings. You have shown that your species can rise to challenges that threaten the safety of countless worlds. For this, we honor you, and through you, the human race." A wave of emotion swept through Alex. They struggled to find words, overwhelmed by the significance of the moment. Finally, they managed to say, I am only one person. The strength, courage, and ingenuity I displayed, it comes from humanity, from everyone who ever dreamed, risked, and persevered. If humans can rise to challenges, it is because they refuse to give up even when the odds seem impossible. The Queen nodded, her expression one of profound understanding. And that is why we knelt before you. Recognition of potential, of qualities that surpass expectations, and of the spirit that cannot be measured by conventional metrics. Humanity is no longer overlooked. Your species has arrived. In the weeks that followed, Alex's role evolved. The Zetherians appointed them as humanity's first ambassador to Virelia Prime, a position that carried both honor and responsibility. Alex facilitated communication between humans and Zetherians, ensuring that Earth's voice could contribute to interstellar decisions. They trained diplomats, shared insights, and helped negotiate trade, defense, and knowledge exchange. Humanity's perspective was fresh and unbound by centuries of protocol, and it proved invaluable. News of Earth's recognition spread quickly across the stars. Other civilizations, previously indifferent or dismissive, began to treat humans with curiosity and caution. Allies sought guidance from Alex, hoping to understand the unexpected creativity and unpredictability of humans. Competitors watched closely, wary of underestimating a species that had already outsmarted the Thrinn. Yet Alex remained humble. They knew that humanity's place in the galaxy was still fragile. The Thrinn were not defeated permanently. Other hostile powers existed, and countless challenges lay ahead. But one thing had changed irreversibly. Humans were no longer considered weak or inconsequential. Their ingenuity, courage, and adaptability had earned respect, earned through action and principle rather than dominance. As ambassador, Alex traveled between worlds. They visited allied colonies, negotiated treaties, and occasionally offered strategic advice. Each time, they observed the same pattern. Humans inspired awe not because of power, but because of the unexpected. Unlike other species, humans did not always follow rules, rely solely on technology, or predictably react. Their unpredictability, tempered by ethics and reasoning, was a force in its own right. During one mission, Alex was asked to mediate a dispute between two distant civilizations over resource allocation. Both sides were rigid, unwilling to compromise, relying on centuries-old doctrines. Humans, Alex realized, could offer a new perspective. Empathy, paired with creativity, they suggested solutions that addressed both parties' needs in ways the aliens had not imagined. In the end, both sides agreed, not just because the solution was practical, but because humans had shown them the power of thinking beyond tradition. Back on Virelia Prime, Alex often met with Queen Erythra in quiet moments. They walked among floating gardens, under skies streaked with the gold and violet light of the twin suns. "Do you understand now why you were chosen?" she asked, her voice calm, almost maternal. Alex smiled, feeling the weight of experience behind their answer. "I think I do. Humans, we are underestimated because we seem ordinary. But ordinary can surprise. Courage, creativity, empathy. These aren't measured by size, strength, or longevity. They are measured by action, by choice. That is why humans matter." The Queen's eyes glimmered with approval. "Correct. And now, humanity will play a role in shaping the galaxy, not as observers, but as active participants. Through you, they will contribute wisdom, ingenuity, and courage. One day, perhaps, your species will lead not by domination, but by example." Alex felt a shiver of pride. It was one thing to survive, another to fight, and yet another to inspire. Humanity had crossed that final threshold, recognized, respected, and empowered. In the following months, Alex oversaw several joint missions. Humans and Zetherians collaborated to explore uncharted systems, study unknown phenomena, and prevent potential threats before they escalated. Humans' adaptability proved invaluable. They solved unexpected technical problems, suggested unconventional strategies, and offered moral perspectives that reminded allies of the consequences of their actions. One evening, after a long day of negotiations and planning, Alex returned to the observation deck. From here, they could see the stars stretching endlessly, countless worlds and civilizations shining like distant jewels. They thought of Earth, of home, and of the journey that had begun with a single invitation and a single gesture of respect, the Queen's kneeling. Alex realized that gesture had meant more than recognition. It had been a challenge. Humanity had been given a chance, and it had risen to meet it. From a single human standing in a vast, alien hall, the story of Earth had changed forever. Humans were no longer small or fragile. They were capable, respected, and essential in the galaxy's unfolding story. Looking toward the stars, Alex felt hope and determination. The galaxy was immense, full of dangers and wonders alike. Yet, humanity's potential had been recognized. And with that recognition came responsibility. They would continue to explore, to fight when necessary, to inspire allies, and to show that even the youngest species could rise to greatness. In the quiet of the observation deck, Alex made a promise to themselves: to continue proving the worth of humanity, not through dominance or fear, but through courage, creativity, and the unwavering drive to protect life and knowledge. Humans had been underestimated for too long. Now, they would lead not through conquest, but through example. Queen Erythra appeared silently beside Alex, her presence serene yet powerful. "Do you see what has been accomplished?" she asked. Alex nodded. "Yes. Humans have been recognized, and we will not waste that trust." The Queen's gaze softened. "Then go. The galaxy awaits, and humanity has much to offer. Remember, one species can change the course of history, but one species with allies, wisdom, and courage can shape the future." As Alex looked at the stars once more, they knew this was only the beginning. Earth and its people had stepped into the galaxy, not as observers, but as participants. The kneeling of the royal queen, once a mystery, was now a symbol. Proof that humanity, with all its flaws and strengths, had been recognized for what it truly was: a species capable of shaping events far beyond its home world. And as Virelia Prime's twin suns dipped below the horizon, casting long, glowing reflections across the crystalline city, Alex felt a quiet, unshakable certainty. Humanity's story in the stars had only just begun. And it would be a story of courage, creativity, and hope.